Welkom mensen bij Onse Show. Nog een episode. En ons is bij season 2. Dit is season 2 mensen. Season 2. Ik wil net willen zeggen welkom. Welkom dat jullie ingeschakeld. Ik is Jerome, jullie co-host. En langs aan mij, onze host Jacelyn. En vandaag heeft ons een special guest. Kijk, al onze guesten special. Maar vandaag ik wil net zeggen dat onze een special guest. Haar naam is Jacelyn Zania Scott.
Kijk, focus op.
So, mensen, without any further ado, dit is een baie sappige episode. So, ik wil niet tijd morsen, because ons doet baie van die vrouwen. So, ik ga het overgeven naar haar. Zij zal ons introduceren voor jullie wat haar niet kennen. Ja, vloer is jou naar Jace.
Thank you so much. Eerstens, baie dankie voor de invite. So much is packed in this room, and I think this show is for the masses. It's for the nations. So it's an absolute honor for me to be. En again, ons gaan lekker gesels. I've watched your shows and I've learned so much from it, and I think that is the purpose of the show. You know, for you guys to actually create awareness and create information on the community. So big ups on that. I'm Jacelyn Scott, and I'm a filmmaker. I'm a poet at heart. That is my core. Poetry is personal for me. I do spoken word, but I write a lot of poetry also, just for my own reflection. I'm a mother. That's one of my things that has identified who I am at the core as well, and I take so much pride on to say motherhood. As a Annahood. As a hood, but you're baie humble. And it's also a wood that makes you see, you get like the magic om kinders te raise. And
Sure.
that's something that I wasn't before, and I wear it, you know, proudly,
Sure.
you know, to be a mother, that title. Yeah, and I would think I'm a community activist. I'm very pro-community, very interested in promoting the community. Proudly from Toekomsrus.
Yes, girl.
Will always be Toekomsrus in my heart, because as waar ons groot raak.
Yes.
That is waar ons memories lewe. And to have that lived experience of community, you know, even if you don't stay in the community, you'll always be part of the community in this work for. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Chase, that is, so you say in a nutshell, is baie om in te vat. Dis vir my net wat wys wat 'n vrou het bestaan. Dis baie sfeers na 'n vrou. Iets wat ek graag wil weet is the magnitude of toekomsrus ons erfenis. How did you get that done?
Yeah.
Sure.
As you say, magnitude, and your co-host understand, because he journeyed with me. I think Jerome was such an anchor, because that was a scary thing. Dat ek daai eers te sê, confess. Ek het nie besef is so groot toe ek begin het. Only when I got into it, it's like the magnitude of this thing. Do I have the shoulders? Do I have the capacity? Like, weet jy nog 'n ding, hoe het jy nog 'n ding toe jy nou die gedoen het, wat gaan dit is?
So voor erfenis, het jy al like productions, of was jy al part van certain productions soos hy wat gemaakt het om te sê, nee, let me journey into this, of was it net something that says, kom ek journey once in the end?
No experience.
Sure.
I've never been exposed. Ek is nie connected to the media nie. My field is in business. So daar was nog nooit exposure aan productions soos daai nie. Die core van Toekomsrus ons erfenis is ons story. You know, like our history, our heritage. And when you learn something about the community that you come from, ben jy ander mense moet ook weet. En wat is die medium om te vertel? A movie.
A movie, yeah.
Yeah. So it was either going to be a book or it was going to be a movie, but ek dink die mees prevalent ding or die mees effective ding is a movie. And you know, when I had the idea, because ek het begin oplees oor die history, die Jameson raid wat in die army in daai tyd in die 1800s ingebeur het. En dit 1600s, since 1800s. Way back, you know, when this was not here. Toekomsrus as we know it. And like, we need to know this. You know, vir ander mense sê van die, and you know, getting that crew together, having people that were invested in our community and saying, daar's nie geld nie, Hier is die expertise nie. Daar is iemand wat ons bekkie. Kan ons dit doen? Kom ons doen dit.
Ja.
Kom ons maak 'n buff en sit almal by mekaar. All your skills, all your talents, whatever jy het om te bring, kom na die tafel toe. Kom ons vertel die storie. And it was amazing to get that buy-in from multi-talented people. Ek bedoel van die actors, Jerome wat die second director was, die script writers, it was all toekomstige talent. And everybody just put in the pool om die ding te laat gebeur. So it wasn't me, it was a team of people that were dedicated to see this thing through.
100%. Die buff om te sien.
Dat was 'n buff.
Die buff.
Er was 'n warme loonbrood en ons ingedruk.
So Jace, as a female venturing into this, kyk, ons praat vir toekomsrigs. Ek kan nie vir ander gemeenskappe praat en sê how is women in other communities. Ek kan net praat van hoe vroumense ek in toekomsrigs.
Yes.
So having done that as a woman in toekomsrigs, what was the challenges? What was your mindset being like at that time? What are you physically challenged, mentally challenged, and what kept you going? Because sometimes the important thing is also to know like what kept that thing going.
Yes.
Ons sien dit gaan aan, but what kept it going?
Yeah. That's a good question. Die ding het begin 2016 toe ek het pitch aan al die interested parties en ek dink dit was 'n groep van 20 mense maybe aan die begin. You know, just the creatives. Van die skrywers tot wie gaan nou die videografie doen, alles daai. So vir alles daai 2016. En nou moet ons mos nou die skrip doen. So as 'n vrou eerstens is you need to lead now because I'm the filmmaker. I'm going to produce this. So the buck stops with me. So ek is responsible. As our problem is moet ek jump. I need to fix. And you know, that's why I said I didn't know the magnitude when I started because I was filled with the excitement of jy weet dat die end product, almal gaan nou die ding sien. But when you're in a production of that scale, die eerste ding is, onthou dit was 'n time period piece. Ons moes teruggegaan het na 1960 hulle. Ons moet die costumes gekry het. Ons moes seker gemaak het niks modern is in die shots nie. En toe ek begin praat met mense in die industrie, sê hulle jy's mal, jy kan nie dit doen nie.
Maar
Nie met nog sonder geld nie. Like this is not gonna work. Like jy kan nie as die project wat jy aanvat is te challenging.
Yeah.
You scale it down. Don't do it that way. And I'm like, this is how we're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
So as a female, firstly, you need to be the leader. And you must not deal with males.
Yeah.
And you weet male egos can sometimes bruised right? Because ek gee ons nou instructions. En ek kom ons nou just jy moet dit doen op die tyd wanneer ek sê jy moet dit doen en jy moet dit doen op die way wat ek wil sê jy moet dit doen. So obviously I think feathers was ruffled. I don't think I am the best leader, but I also don't think I'm the worst leader. I think there were certain things that I needed to do to get it done because aan die einde van die dag, that's a timeline.
Yes.
So I would push when it was needed. And most of the challenges, I think, came from the community. I wasn't ready to have the kind of opposition that I experienced because ek dink aan ons vertel aan nou toekomstige stories. So almal gaan nou proud is, almal gaan helpful is, almal gaan excited is and that wasn't the experience, not because people were spiteful or as bad people. Maybe they just didn't understand the vision and the concept. Verstaan jy? Want soos iemand van my gesê het, gedink en glo is iets anders. Hulle het gedink as geld in die ding. Hulle het gedink as 'n backing, as klomp geld wat in die ding is. En hulle kan nie verstaan nou waar is die geld nie.
Yeah.
100%.
We need to be paid. You understand? And I think it took me a very long time to realize they were not wrong. Mense wat in die production was, die actors wat hulle tyd afgestaan het. Yes, you need to be compensated.
Some sort of compensation.
It's right. And that was the desire. And ek besef know that I actually hurt people
Sure.
by not delivering in that area.
Sure.
Because ons het die grootste turnout gehad met die screening van die show.
Yes.
And everybody's like, you count mos nou, like tickets was it 60 rand?
60 rand.
I mean 60 rand, I'll do you 60 to 1,000 people. Dat is nog steeds maar seker net 60,000.
R1000, ja.
En as jy begin praat van movies,
Daai
budget is million. So expenses gaan altyd vir jou
Overweight.
knie halter, verstaan jy? So people don't know the ins and outs because I'm the producer and I was using my credit card and ek dink ons het 'n sponsor gekry van ATKV het 'n bietjie geld gegee. But nothing at the scale where you could say we had money. We never had money. Ek het my Audi open coupe, hy was 'n trok.
Transportkaart, vir alles.
Die cameras en die goeders was in die sunroof was open and that's what it cost. Because now you need to move this thing to get to the end.
Mense sien hoe die Audi
They don't-
as 'n trok en dink, nee maar hier is regtig geld. As die Audi so rond beweeg, nee, geld is regtig in.
Gaan 'n nuwe kar koop.
Opposite.
Was daar nie some sort of, ek weet nie, kan ek sê verbal agreement, te sê, okay right, ons doen die dan, as die compensation nie, maar kan
Ja.
ons going forward sal ons sien.
Yeah. I think that was a discussion that I had, especially with the actors, because they were putting in the most time. I mean, it was time consuming. And obviously the crew wat ook daar was, elke dag as ons moes geshoot het. So one of the agreements that we had was, you know, after the movie shot, obviously the big goal was to get this, even SABC, dit moet gebroadcast word. Ons wou nie op 'n small scale gegaan het. Ons het gesê, this is for the masses, moet national gaan. So when we get a deal, everybody would get their cut. Die deal het nooit gekom nie. Remember that was the dream. And when we had the event, en ons gesê enige profits wat ons gaan maak van, jy weet, wanneer die screening is, we were pre-selling tickets. So geld het ingekom voor die dag van die event. And before that, die sound moes gebetaal gewees het,
Die
die
venue.
editing moes gebetaal gewees het, die venue moes gebetaal gewees het, ons het 'n big screen setup gehad, everything
Petrol naar
money.
editing toe.
So die free ticket sales het gekom, so kom ons sê helfte van die tickets is al klaar. Die geld is al klaar gebruik vir die expenses en die dag van die event waar ook geld, jy weet, people were, you know, with the gate, they got the money. But the expenses was more than the income. So there wasn't a profit to share amongst everybody. And soos ek sê, I don't think they're wrong by asking to be compensated. It just didn't work out the way I thought it would. And it's still something that I'm burdened with because ek voel ek owe hulle. And I'm still trying to get this movie sold, not just shown, but to
Yeah,
actually get money so that we can compensate those that have really dedicated their time.
Wat ek van die af wat is, each and every one wat involved was in die movie, moet proud wees op wat gedoen was. En dit is 'n legacy van toekies wat van almal van toekies wat het afgegee het. So, dat is wat ek, maar en lessons was ook geleer, seker going forward, as daar miskien weer iets in toekies geshoot word. As iets wat jy opgebring het, like gesê het, being a leader.
Yes.
In these times, soos Jerome sê, like, ons praat nou in terme van toekomsrus, maar ek praat van broader.
Yeah.
In these times that we are living in die, wat hulle sê, feminism,
Yeah.
in teaching your daughters and sons as well, but ons moet nou vrou mense per se, teaching them how to be a leader in their fields.
Yeah.
Wat is jou take op feminism en vrou mense teach om te lead ook
Yeah.
in their respective fields?
Mhm. It's difficult. I come from corporate. I'm in corporate now. I'm a leader where I'm at. And vrouwens wordt nog steeds undermined.
Sure.
We're still living in a, patriarchic, patriotism is nog steeds daar. The male
Is the dominant.
is the dominant one. You have all these people, in those big positions. So for a female, I would say, to become empowered is you really need to know yourself also. Jy moet sterk is in yourself. Jy kan nie go with the flow kind of thing. You need to know wat staan jy voor? Wat is die goeders wat jy wil accomplish? aan die
Nog
einde
vir
van die dag?
nonsense staan nie, joh.
Yes, like sometimes compromise you must in the workplace or when you're in a leadership position because you will favor curry, you want to be liked, you want to please, verstaan jy?
Ja.
But as a leader, you make the tough decisions. As the leader, you lead by example. So as ek vra van jou af as a leader, I want this amount of things done, this is your target. I must also be able to show you, I'm accountable. So jy accountable is aan my. And it's that vice versa, dat respect wat ons wys. Verstaan jy? Because even as a leader, as a manager, whatever jy is, your title is, whatever leadership position, in order, as you iemand lead, it's a team. Because it's not just somebody following you blindly. That person has unique thoughts, unique inputs. And if you're dismissing them because they don't have the label as a leader or as a manager or iemand wat in a superior position is, jy must aid because as a team, one's offset against each other's strengths.
Sure.
So women need to own what they possess. Don't second guess yourself. Moenie doubt die wat die gut, die instinct wat jy mee gebore is. Because, you know, there's almost a belief that women can't lead because we're emotional. Jy weet ons nou, ons het mos periods en ons gaan deur emotional, like ons gaan lê in die bed en vir 'n week as ons nou deur daai gaan. But how many times has it been shown, you know, that we lead with empathy because we're emotional beings. So we lead differently than men. En as ons kyk na die history van men en julle track record, sorry manne. We can't do worse than what you guys are doing now. Met die wars, met die way ons economy is, starvation, people in abject poverty, and dan sê men, they are leading. Ons is in a desolate state. So women give us the opportunity to lead.
Then hoe dink jy sien vrouens goed different as a man when it comes to being a leader?
I speak from my own experience. I look at the human. Jy's nie a cog in a machine nie, especially in a work environment. Want ons must target driven. Jy weet, the work is production. Look, we're here for business and for profit. Ons is hier om mekaar beter te laat voel nie. But I go down to that level.
Sure.
I go to your humanity and I appeal to your humanity. Because if you buy into the vision, as it maklik vir jou om jou targets te reach. Because if you believe in something, you'll go for it.
Yeah.
So ek maak seker jy believe en jy kan die pictures sien, jy sien die objective wat ons wil reach. En hoe gaan jy benefit van dit? As jy jou targets, oh, jy gaan bonus kry. Yes, jy gaan bonus kry.
So does that come from, sorry Jace, does that come from growing up where jy vanaf kom of kom hy type karakter van what life has taught you? Because the challenging part om te dink van wat jy sê is like, okay, if that's the case, then why don't I see it evident in onze gemeenskap?
Yeah.
There is, I'm not saying everyone is like, there is women in our community.
Yes.
They do things and they do make changes, but like
they are exemplary.
Verstaan jy, but like as it come out van 'n plek af of does it come from learning?
Yeah.
Is it a learning thing or is it something that you learn in your community?
Yeah. Good question again. En nou dink ek daaraan. I think it's both. Daar moet iets binne ook is. As 'n leaders are born, I don't believe that. Ek dink almal kan leaders is. And I think we do lead in different fields. Jy weet net jy is 'n leader, maybe net in die label lead. But you have an area of influence. Everybody has an area of influence where you are moving people into a different direction.
Yeah.
So ek dink dit is twee. It is the environment. So if you are exposed to a lot of strong women en hulle model vir jou daai leadership, gaan dit easy vir jou kom. Because it's something you've been exposed to. En ek dink soos in ons community, we don't see a lot of that. Like, do we really see a lot of women taking on big projects, going out there unapologetically? Verstaan jy? We don't see that a lot. So hoe kan iemand dit emulate? The youth. They're not exposed to that. And I think that's why mentorship is very important, because jy model iets vir iemand anders. Jy wys hulle hoe om by die boonste kas uit te kom. Jy wys hulle, hier's die step ladder, jy nou so gaan. En sê wat hulle bly jump. En hulle dink is 'n impossible ding. Jy sê nee, kom hier. Bring die stoeltjie. Ga eers tot by eerste stoel, sit jou knie weer daar by kas, dan reach jy nou.
Sure.
And it's a process. You loop saam met hulle deur daai process. Because we can all reach whatever your goals is. Remember, success is different for ander mense.
Yeah.
Ons sê nie success is weer net about material things, ek kry 'n dik kar en ek kry klomp geld nie. That's not success for a lot of people. Success vir mense is freedom of my time. Ek kan my eie tyd hê om te doen wat ek wil doen. I'm the most successful person.
Sure.
Because I'm not in a system where I'm controlled en ek kan net op 'n sekere plek is op 'n sekere tyd. That thing is priceless.
And you've mentioned something earlier, but it was off camera, where you said that sometimes it's also important the people that you look up to and the people that speak into your life. Because you said something about what your father said. En het gesê hoe hy vir jou ge-impact, like you were like unstoppable.
Yeah.
You see, so how important is that, especially in the environment that we are currently in? And like who can ons sulke goed harvest? Like how can we harvest those things so people can see? For Stanley Jace.
Powerful. I think that's the most important. Jy weet die rol van parent, mom, dad, that's a meer belangrike rol wat jy kan speel.
Sure.
Because like I mentioned with my example, ons kom uit 'n huis 2-bedroom, Visrivierstraat, very normal, very average. Nog nooit honger kan slaap nie, maar definitief nie die rykste mense in die wêreld en die klomp kinders in die huis in. That's my upbringing. And my pa het so baie in my geglo as a persoon when I was young.
Sure.
And this specific moment that I was recalling is where you looked me in the eye, want ek sê vir hom ek kom huis toe want ons het geleer van die governor wat die geld teken, die Reserve Bank governor. En ek sê vir hom, ek wil die governor raak, want ek wil my naam op die note sien. En was ek vir die werk, was ek wil my naam, ek wil sign na, want ek sien die governor sign aan die geld. Ek wil dit doen. En my pa kyk my met so much intent and belief om te sê, jy kan enige iets raak.
Sure.
But it wasn't in a pacifying way. Jy weet hoe kan ons vir ons kinders sê, ja, jy gaan 'n ballerina raak. Ja, jy's so mooi, jy's so mooi. You know when something's genuine, this guy actually believes I can do anything. En ek kyk, en hy sê enige iets.
Sure.
Ek weet jy kan enige iets doen.
Ek het 'n vraag op weet jy.
Yes.
Dink jy daar's 'n verskil tussen generations back then in parenting and now in the current times?
Sulke groot. Ons mis so baie of
Is it
so baie
dying in-
holes. Yes.
Apologies. Is it dying out? The upbringing of yesteryear
Yes.
and the present.
Ek glo so. Ek glo ons het baie obedient parents geraak instead of obedient children. Ons is obedient parents. Ons luister baie mooi na ons kinders. Ons is baie gehoorsaam. As my kind sê sy soekie tekkies, ek weet ek het 3 jaar te gaan koop ek uit tekkies.
No, why is that so? Why is
Because we want to be liked by our kids. Ons wil gelike word. Ons wil cool parents is. Ons wil nice parents is.
No, but the
you know.
danger van that? What's the danger of
What we're
wanting
seeing
to
in
be
our
the
community, where people earn minimum wage en hulle kinders dra branded clothes, dan vra jy hoe met dit. Ek ken aan die met die as a cashier. So even if sy 'n tweede hustle ook het, jy kon 'n huis gekoop het. Jy kon 'n kar gekoop het.
And
Maar
it's not
ons
judging.
sien not judging is this is reality in colored townships, in black townships, because this is the impoverished township. We make up for what we lack in our appearances. Because ek kan nie maak dat my kind lyk hy het nie. Ons het nie.
And as you
Okay, who's fooling who?
Ja.
Ons ken jy het
Van
nie.
nou-
Jy ken jy het nie.
jy moet dit ophou met die kind. As die kind klaar
That's
word
the
is van
point.
'n kavella of
That's the
whatever,
point.
jy moet ophou en hy van okay, right. Nee, ek gaan vir jou 'n plan maak.
That's
Ek
it.
gaan vir jou 'n plan
Jy
maak.
gaan 'n diep skuld en jy weet jy kan nie die because it's a lifestyle that's not for you. Why ons as jy gaan kyk na die stats van die branded clothing stores which gives nothing back to our communities. Ons is the highest consumers
Sure.
of branded clothes. You don't see wealthy people running for that. Yes, there are some, but most, real wealth is silent. It's baie very subtle. Ek hoef nie vir jou te wys my kavela, ek is iemand nie. So we find a lot of that. So parenting, this is what onze ouers het nog nooit daai jokes gespeel met ons nie because ons het geleer jy gaan hy hand-me-downs kry van jou broer of jou suster en jy gaan dit aandruk. En jy gaan dit dra. Want jy gaan kaal uitloop as jy dit doen. They didn't compromise. They didn't have time to compromise. They were busy living their lives. They were busy trying to build a life for themselves and their kids. They didn't care if you liked them. Jy kan kwaad gewees het en gaan slaap en dan sê jy, en as jy nog iemand kwaad en sê hulle blaas af hy mond. En as jy daai skot te goed hard was en sê hulle, as jy daai skot te goed nog weer so hard,
dan gaan jy sien.
So let there were consequences. Daar was the authority, daar was clear lines, boundaries. There's no boundaries. En die kind doen wat hy doen wanneer hy voel hy wil dit doen. En ons is ons kinders se cheerleaders in the wrong and in the right. Ons cheer hulle on.
Yeah. What's the dangers of that? Because Jace, I think today's episode we're dedicating it more to women.
Yeah.
To see like ons ken as challenges for vrouwens.
Yes.
En ons weet, there's also ways to overcome those
Yes.
challenges. You are one of the person that are evident of that. You are one of the person that when we have discussions, it's like, yo, look at Jace, that die goed is dat sy gebereik het, and there's some stories that I shared with Justin and them, it's like, and I heard you shared with them off camera, die tyd toe julle die ride gemaak het en toe kom
Yes.
Tristan en so, you see, sometimes being a woman, nee, en ek is 'n man, ek ken dit gaan nooit gebeur vir my, maar
Ja.
maybe in the next lifetime, but ek is 'n man, seeing a woman putting herself out there and fighting all these things, it lyk tiresome.
Yeah.
You see, what actually is the thing that helps you, hoe kan ek nou sê, overcome your fears om te sê, ek is bang vir die, maar
Ja.
ek moet dit dan doen. Because if I don't do it, dan gaan ek aan vir ewig bang is.
Yeah.
You see, and the importance of how women actually is in our community. Because vrouwens is belangrik. Whether in other community or in this community, vrouwens is belangrik. You see, then how do we as men that still care about women, that care about our community, how do we protect those women? How do we help them? How do we guide them? I can't get the Ali question,
Yes.
but like from your experience.
Yeah. I think the first one, as you say, hoe overcome a mens your own internal, hy struggle. Jy weet wanneer jy nou, you want to be the best version of yourself. My go-to or my juice, my power aid is faith. I think when God says we can do all things through Christ who strengthens, it's a reality to me. It's not just a verse, it's I tap in, I connect. The spiritual realm is as real as the physical realm.
Sure.
So my faith sustains me in places and times where I doubt or I fear or ek is unsure.
Sure.
Whatever wilderness daar is, waar ek moet eers aan binnekant kyk en sê, jy capacity wat jy nou voordoen, wie dink jy wie? Because remember, this voice, die toxic femininity wat in die wêreld en is wat sê vrouens moenie dit doen nie. Vrouens moenie bier drink nie, bier is vir manne, is nie vir vrouens nie. You know, stupid things like that. A woman is not supposed to wear pants because sy moet 'n skirt. Silly things that, you know, conditioning of women have a certain place in a role and they only up to here. Moenie nog hoor wil gaan nie, dis waar jou plek is. So when you challenge those beliefs, when you challenge those societal norms, you know, you need to have that strength inside because jy gaan mos opposition kry.
Yes.
Dink jy, you know, die society gaan sê, well done, nee, mostly hulle, wat dink jy, is jy mal?
Especially for a vrou.
Ja.
Especially for a
Hou
vrou.
op, jy weet jy moet in die kombuis in is, you know. And if women before us believed that and were stagnant and being barefoot and pregnant in die kitchen in, kan jy imagine wat ons society, because now we've moved from that. Ons weet ons het nou heeltemal wegbeweeg van daai af. Niemand sê weer daai woman is supposed to be in the kitchen. We've accepted that women have places around places of power. Hulle kan lead. Ons sien dit nou. So it takes each generation om op te staan en daai norms te challenge en te sê, o, jy sê ek kan nie daai doen nie. Ja, ek kan nie president wees van die country. Hoekom kan ek nie die country advocate?
Sure.
But ek het 'n question vir jou, Jace.
Ja.
Moet vroumense nog steeds die submissive wees vir die mansmense? Is dit nie geskrywe dat vroumense submissive moet wees vir die mansmense? Soos jy sê, like,
Nice.
as ons sê, hulle moet hulle plekke ken.
Yeah.
Like a woman, I don't mind a woman being or aspiring to be a leader.
Yes.
Maar dan moet jou plek ken ook dat ek lief
I'm-
nog steeds,
yeah,
like
the head of the house.
Ja, ek
Yeah.
lief nog steeds van hulle losdraak, en hy van, okay, right, miskien jy pay me meer, jy doen meer, jy meer, dan sit, nee man. Ek sê vir jou wat om te doen. En growing up as a kid, ons hol altyd na die ma toe. Nooit na die pa toe nie. Die pa, ek dink is meer aan die fisiese kant waar sport, visvang,
Yep.
what not, but leadership in a sense of 'n ma kan, 'n pa kan 'n klein meal maak met R100. 'n ma kan 'n groot meal dry met R100.
Yes.
So, ons kyk na ons maans toe in hy
Yeah.
aspect. Ja.
So mothers are the guides.
Ja,
Dis om haar te pas na
more.
hulle toe.
In
Because
the
they're the
household, in
nurturers.
the community,
Correct.
country, world at large.
Yeah. En het is so contradicting. Ons trust die ma op haar rol, sy gaan ons lead. Sy gaan hy R100 vat en magic maak. Maar sê ons, jy gaan nie die country se budget kan raakloop nie, want jy's baie emotional. You know, like we can do it on a small scale, but oh nee, hy is te groot vir jou.
Yeah.
But she showed it. Sy maak magic, sy kan magic maak met hy groot budget wat jy laat gee. Anyway, so wat jy nou sê is, what about submitting?
Ja.
Especially nou, jy's nou die boss girl in die boardroom en jy gee maar allemaal instructions daar by die werk, om jy nou huis toe kom. You married. Jy het 'n man. En die Bybel sê, submit, because he is the head of the house. It's twee wêrelde. And how I do it, I am actually reminding myself, I don't have to be the leader here.
Sure.
At home.
I kan nou relax, man. Oh, Justin's got me, man. You get me, man. Hy vang my nga. I don't have to make all the decisions here.
Sure.
So, when you're putting on your different caps, I think it's still appropriate om daai te doen in die huis. And because there's certain roles that women and men do in the house, which makes sense. Die Here weet hoekom het hy dit so gedoen. Wanneer ek probeer al die burdens op my vat, ek is exhausted.
Yeah.
Ek het niks meer te doen. But if I allow you to be the leader in the house,
True.
I'm like the nurturer, the loving mom, the loving
Sure.
wife that
But
I'm supposed
it's
to be.
complementary.
It complements. Want jy doen nou die harde goede daarso. Jy is nou die provider, jy maak die plan, jy sê vir ons hier's ons vision. Ek buy in. I'm supporting. Ek is help my, bro. Ek skoffel saam met jou. Maar jy die vision.
Sure.
And I'm supporting in no raga die harmony. Die kinders sien nog nee, okay. His order, his structure.
Sure.
Because ek kan nie wil die boss babe is by die huis. It's gonna clash. Maar ek gaan mos nooit kleintjie maak.
Ja.
Hy gaan nou nie werk nou nie. Nou,
Respect.
en respect is die fundamental ding vir 'n man.
Jo.
If there's no respect, that relationship kan nie werk nie. Jy kan hoe lief is vir hom. But if you don't respect him, you've lost the battle. Because men crave respect.
Sure.
100%.
Because they were built to lead. Especially when it comes to their families. They were built to lead in that way.
Sure.
Because hulle is die cover for the family. They cover you financially, they cover you emotionally, they cover you physically. That's their role as hulle nature. En wanneer jy hulle deprive van die af,
Hy kan los.
is ons om 'n leeu te wil domesticate. Jy sê nou dis my pet. Ro.
Ek kan
Jy kan nie 'n leeu maak nie, bro. En hulle sê dag as jy by inkom by iemand se huis en daar's 'n leeu wat daar so sit en jy's net so sê hallo vir sê hallo. Nee, jy het hom gedomesticate. Jy het hom uit sy nature uitgevat en jy het hom nog gedomesticate en jy sê nou net so sê hallo vir die mense. He's supposed to be what God made him to be. Moenie maak nie. Don't deprive.
Yeah. It mentioned that you love to write.
Yes.
You love to write. Share us a bit about the journey. And there was a group. I don't know were you part of that group. Coloring crayons.
Yes.
Please share us more about coloring crayons. What was it all about?
Yeah.
Is it still hoe sê hulle mense active of inactive?
Yeah.
Is nog steeds bestaan het nog steeds?
That was such a good time. Coloring Crayons was a writing forum.
Yes.
I was one of the founding members, and it was just a group of people in Tukisen that were writers,
Sure.
aspirant writers. Niemand is published, so but we had the ideal to hone our craft. This was when you yourself. Jy weet as jy nou 'n electrician is, jy gaan hang maar nou met die electrician mense uit, want jy wil nou leer. Jy weet mos mechanics, die kinders begin mos met kyk, hulle kyk eens wat maak die pa of ever in die kar en werk. So that's the writing forum. So the coloring crayons, we were just ons maak mekaar skerp. Ons was net besig om iron against iron. So sharing that poetry, sharing ons het al 'n writing competition gehad, ons het al die Psalms of Toekomsrus competition gehad,
Sure.
where we
Sure.
invited the community to send Psalms, and we called it Psalms of Toekomsrus, so dat was Psalm 100, maar is alles te doen met Toekomsrus.
Ja.
So the community was ook involved, and we wanted also to publish, like a bundle, the poetry, because there were so many submissions, and mense was so excited om ook in te skryf en deel te wees van die bundle wat ons gemaak het. So it is about writing, and there's so many writers in our community. Daar's so baie talented people that is, there's just no platform or opportunities that are created. And this was one of the forums where we said, don't do it in isolation. Here's your tribe. Come, join us. And it was open to everybody.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it's nie active nie.
Ja.
Because that's also something that can live on forever, because it doesn't need a lot. It doesn't need a space, because you can scrape online,
Yeah.
So I think, we kind of dropped the ball to not feed it and keep it alive for the new group of writers. Want hoeveel nuwe writers is daar wat 'n platform nodig, 'n forum?
They don't even know. Wat ek van die afkry waar jy sê Jesus like. Daar's ook baie talent in toekies.
Sure.
Men en women. But ons het altyd maar ek noem dit innosteam, ons het altyd hy waar dit gaan net en dan drop dit weer. As die test te veel dan drop dit weer.
Yes.
En iets wat ek 'n probleem het en nou en dan as ek dit opbring aan lagie mense. Ek die Turkish lief hulle. Ek het 'n probleem met dit kos. Nou gebruik hulle kleerling mense wat
voice-overs.
wat Turkish mense die voice-overs.
Yes.
Daar waar soos jy sê, daar's talent hier. Ook nie net kleerling hier. In general, daar's talent hier, maar kom ek sê kleerling ja. Daar's talent hier, talent in Els, talent reg rond in Suid-Afrika. Maar daar's die production. Wat stories van ons kant af, soos jy sê, ons begin nou by Toekomsrus, ons erfenis.
That's it.
Daar was nie geld vir production, so groot companies sit hier daarin om production vir ons op te maak, waar ons self kan sien en relate. Hoe relate ek met iemand wat van Turkye af is?
Dude.
Dit maak net nie sin vir my. So ja.
I share your dismay, because dit maak nie sin nie. Hoekom is ons goed genoeg vir daai voice-overs? Hoekom kan ons nie ons eie goedes create nie? Ons het ons eie stories wat ons kan vertel, en die amount of stories wat in ons community en colored history at large kan kom is, ek het nie eens 'n nommer vir dit nie.
Sure.
It can sustain us for years to come. All we need is die support. So wanneer jy na die National Film and Video Foundation, Jerome is baie bekend because I've done the work. We are met with opposition. Daar is nie funds vir ons nie. En niemand gaan dit vir jou explain nie. Hulle gaan net vir jou sê, that's the budget, no, yours didn't make the criteria. But nou sien jy 'n pattern dat 'n sekere reis in 'n maak nooit die cut nie. So what is that? Is it a structured way to isolate and marginalize nog verder? Because remember, if you can't see yourself on TV or in the media, and waar's jou role models wat ons nou van gepraat het? Waar's ons stories waar ons kan relate?
Relate 100% vir buite mense om ook te sien die colored identity.
Correct.
Te sien.
Correct.
Van ek voel bly as 'n colored series movie, whatever wat uitkom is meer in 'n gangster kant. Daar's nooit jou 'n romantic.
'n comedy.
Ja.
Wie funny is colored mense?
Yo, it's funny.
Bra, guara, kom van
En
ons
as jy aan nasi wat sal sê guara nie, so hulle gaan ons wonder wat is guara?
Die grapmakers, ons is innate, we animated. When we tell stories, ons is funny mense. Dit vat nie vir ons 'n skill nie. Jy kan net gaan sit in iemand se company. Die ooms, die middeljariges, you'll find there's funny stories. The way we tell our stories is funny. So even at the comedy, ons sien nie eens daai nie. So it's not about the lack of talent. Daar is nie 'n will or motivation om vir ons te support in daai area nie.
Kom dit af tot op ons staan nie met mekaar, by mekaar nie. As ek dink hy is seker die grootste challenge.
I don't know. Ek het nie die antwoorde nie. Ek hoop julle die antwoorde soos I think there's a lot of factors. I think there's a lot of things that takes away from our race.
Sure.
Daar's mense wat nie glo ons is 'n race nie. Daar's mense wat nie glo ons het 'n identity as a race, as quality. Hulle sê it's an illusion. And I mean, race is a social construct. Ons weet dat as die wêreld humans gemaak. It was not a race. Race was gemaak as a social construct om ons te divide. And now we go into the identity and heritage van, maar dis my tradition, dis wat ek ken, dis wat ek gewoond aan is.
Yeah.
So, nou sê jy vir my, you have to be black. Ek mind nie om black te wees, want black is deel van my culture en is van my heritage, van ek is mixed. I know there's somewhere, iewers daar 'n black iemand, as 'n wit iemand, daar is 'n koi iemand, as ek my lineage gaan kyk. My point is, we do have a culture. Whether mense dit van buitekant accept of nie. Kyk, Tyler het dieselfde ding gegaan. She was completely criticized omdat sy gesê het sy is nie black, sy's colored. That's a lived experience. But in South Africa, it becomes a shameful thing to admit
Sure.
there is a colored identity, there is a colored culture.
Sure.
And we want to tell our colored stories. No say he's racist. How am I racist if this is my lived experience?
Sure.
Because wanneer ek in 'n colored community is en ek praat met colored mense, is dit different wanneer ek in 'n black community is en ek praat met black mense. En wanneer ek na 'n wit community gaan en ek praat met wit.
Sure.
It's different because we were raised different. And that is what makes culture. And culture is fluid. It changes. Dis nie 'n stagnant ding waar jy sê dit moet so wees. O, jy moet 'n rokkie aan hê want dit is wat jou culture colored maak. O, jy moet 'n hoed dra want dit is jy moet dans soos. No, it's fluid. It changes as people change. It evolves.
Sure.
But we know that we have a colored culture. And we can proudly own that now. But somehow in South Africa, this thing, it's not on the table so that ons openly kan praat en sê, wat is die storie? Kom ons hoor bietjie wat is die storie? Gee ons ook geld, ons ook movies maak asseblief. Gee ons ook geld. Because the budget is big. But we don't see those stories. Wat gaan kyk op Mzansi Magic? Wat sien jy daar?
Jo. Ag, so goed is er aan.
Wat vir my, it all boils down to, dis waar ons identity verloor. En wat gebeur locally in ons colored communities.
Yes.
Waar die typieke vroumens of meisies is drank, raak swanger. There's no example waarvan back then se generations daar was staunch examples.
Yes.
Daar was, kyk, drank is al die jare daar. Drank kom op van die 1600s af.
Yes.
Maar daar was meer staunch examples waar het over the years, soos jy sê, ons culture is fluid. Over the years het het swaarder geraak vir examples vir groot vroumense om 'n example te wees vir ons upcoming youth.
Ja.
Van so, ek dink dit het baie te doen met ons identity of
Ja.
losing our identity.
And remember, we have inherited the anger van die previous generations. Ons kom uit apartheid uit. Imagine that. So ons het ons in 1980s, 1970s, waar mense gefight het vir die liberty of all people. Nie net coloreds, there was a united front, right? And there wasn't one liberator, there was almal wat bymekaar gekom het en gesê dat if you're not white, we're standing together and we're overthrowing this government. No, sit ons, en dis wat jy sê van drink, and people that are actually, they've lost hope. Want as jy gaan kyk wat in ons communities aangaan, people have lost hope. Because as jy met hoop lewe en as jy met 'n droom lewe, you pursue that dream. Jy kan sien die focus.
Yes.
There's no focus because there's no hope.
Sure.
So, die enigste ding wat ek attain is, ek gaan nou die swanger raak, ek gaan mos nou daarom my kind hê, ek gaan trou, maybe gaan ek 'n job kry, 9 to 5. You know, like, it's so limited, it's so small in comparison met wat daar buite kan regtig is, en die potential wat in ons is. But wat ek sê is met die inherited anger, ons ouers, wat die system geovertrou het, was looking for a better future.
For their children.
En kom kyk wat kry hulle kinders.
Sure.
They're being isolated, they're being marginalized. So nou het ons angry parents wat begin drink het. So jy sê drank kom nou al lank aan. And drank has been a weapon, a tool that systems, die governments gebruik het to also oppress. Because as jy dronk is it fine. Jy worry nie oor baie goed nie. Ek kan advantage vat van jou af. Verstaan jy?
100%.
En if you giving it to a person that's already dealing with the emotional turmoil, because die nuwe Suid-Afrika is dan nog nie so nuut soos hulle gedink het gaan is. So they disillusion, jy raak groot in 'n huis en jy sien hoe kwaad is jou ma, want jou ma en jou pa bly kwaad, hulle bly beklei, hulle bly, because this is not what they hoped for.
Sure.
And no, model jy mos nou maar die.
Yeah.
Because ons sien dit dan nou van die ouers af, and this is what's prevalent in the community, so we like, yeah, kom ek release maar my stress op man. So gaan nou na die drugs, toe gaan nou na die. So it's a cycle, but it's also a cycle that comes from real things that affected our parents. It's not that hulle weak is nie.
Sure.
They are disillusioned. They've lost that hope that they had. They were fighting for something and they haven't received it.
Sure.
En onze kinders, en ons is nou die nuwe generation van parents, what are we feeding our kids now? Gaan ons hulle ook hopeless maak?
Sure.
Because if we don't fight this, because we're still not equal, we're still not free, ons moet die future voor fight. Vir die kinders wat nou moet op, otherwise they will also lose hope. So want ons nou 3 generations wat nou al in die nuwe Suid-Afrika is, wat sê, nothing's going to change, ons gee op, ons gee op. Because that's what they want us to do, to say, that's niksie. Okay, dis wie ons is. Oh yeah, yeah. No! This is the time where we're changing things. And we speak to that. Verstaan jy? Ons praat om te sê, die young girl wat struggle, die young boy wat struggle, what can we do now? Do we model it? Do we do the mentorship? Wat doen ons?
So it boils down to elkeen moet 'n model wees vir die up and coming.
And it starts in that house.
And JC, iets gepraat earlier on about creating things. Back then you created JXK Corner.
Yeah, poetry corner.
Poetry
Yeah.
Corner. What change have you seen during that time, hosting it, people attending it, people having conversations about it? Is it iets dat ons weer kan terugbring? Not per se that is that. Like let's say for instance, iemand kyk die and they say, man, but I also want to do a podcast, but I don't know how. And now we hear you speaking about how you've created all these things from a movie, from writing, and you were part of. Sorry to jump from question to question, but I just want to mention that you were part of what's this thing? Soul Out for God as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know that.
Yeah.
You see, and who was I experienced with
Shock.
JXK Corner?
I think that was for me the most, or one of the most rewarding experiences, because ons het 'n platform gehad nou waar die creatives, you know, sometimes people look down on creatives. It's like, jy's nie verreder, jy's 'n hobby. But I mean, like, this is my passion, this is my art, you know, like, and I feel like people don't take creatives serious. Hulle voel like, oh yeah, los maar vir poetry daar, so, you know, like, it's not real, as flimsy, but I felt like the creatives finally had that space where we could own our space and proudly come out and say, he's my poetry no.
Sure.
You know, like, he's my bars, ek rap nou daar. So this is me, this is my talent, this is what I cooked up. And it was rewarding because I was soveel youth wat die gatherings gehad het. And you could see, it was like, hier kom Justin die weer. Hij bring Justin dan nou weer vir Jerome. Ek het nooit gedacht Jerome sal hier na die plek toe kom. But you see the interest, people that you didn't think that would be interested were actually supporting. They weren't the artists themselves, but they enjoyed the space. They enjoyed what was created on that platform.
Yeah.
So it definitely, I think, made an impact. And it created a space. En het is belangrik om 'n space te hê. We must have a space for people to display their art. Because art is for consumption, is for the public. Ons doen nie art, kyk, poetry kan personal is, sometimes it's not for yourself, but usually when you want to sing or when you want to perform, you will perform for the audience, you will perform for yourself. Usually people want to be seen, because they want to share this thing with you.
Sure.
And now we don't have that space, or not that I know of. So I would hope, Jerome, that this can continue. It doesn't have to be JXK Poetry Corner. But let's create a space where monthly die creatives kom. You invite almal, kom doen jou ding. And people gain confidence because baie mense het nog nie die mic gevoel nie. Hulle wil graag, maar hulle is bang. En nou dat jy daai space create op ons community level, it prepares them for bigger stages. So daai is die eerste keer, dis soos iemand wat nog nooit gaan uit eet dit nie. Begin by die huis, vat die mes en vir. Ek sê jou, as beter. Nou ga jy nou na die restaurant toe, nou fumble jy. Begin hier. Maak net, wys na op die kind. 1, 2, linkerkant, regterkant. As hy kan daar kom, prep is daar.
Confidence is daar.
Hy kan gaan nou nie embarrass voel. You understand? So ons gee hy easing into. You give them that prep, you give them that platform. So groter platforms kom, they're not intimidated.
Yeah.
Ek onthou daarna, as ek dit vir my community kan doen, ek kan dit doen. And I feel that was the launchpad, and that was the vision, that people would gain the confidence to go further. Gaan pursue jou art, man. Maak dit 'n full-time career, laat mense nie dink dit is flimsy nie. Become that person that you dream to be.
Sure.
Because it's altijd a hobby, it's altijd a side hustle. No, you can be this. Mense DJ permanently. That's their career.
You know,
They are actors.
And there's a market
you know?
for everything.
There's a market.
As a market for poets. Dis iets wat ek op dit op wil touch ook. Ons was eendag by 'n event. Nou, soos ons kom by die parking ground level.
Yeah.
As 'n art exhibition.
Yes.
En die event is bo, top flow. So staan ek aan en kyk en ek dink ook aan die community en hy van like, we're not exposed to this. En as jy kom kry, mense wat dat maak, met hy art, jy kom kry 'n painting 200,000, 1 million. Maar daar's nie exposure hier in die community nie. En dan kom kry jy dat kinders, meisies seentjies wat kan, like, they can draw.
Dude.
They can draw.
And ons dink altyd, like in school, and it's also so rigid. The system says you must be academically good. Almal is academically
Yes.
aangeleid. En dit maak jou nie dom nie. It just means jy's meer creative, maybe. Maybe moet jy sculpting doen. You've never been exposed to sculpting. Ons kennis wat in jou hande lê nie, want jy tog nooit, mense gaan graf toe with talents that's hidden, they've never been exposed to, they've never tried it out.
sure.
Imagine, die biggest painter lê miskien by die cemetery. Ons het nooit gesien nie, hy kon beter as Leonardo gewees het. Hy kon beter as Da Vinci gewees het. We don't know. We don't expose our kids.
To those that
We don't. Because al wat ons wil hê is, doen goed in die skool en daai sukses.
bring the distinctions.
A's. And it's so one-dimensional because that's not how our world works. And that's not how humans are created. Ons is different. And ons het different talents. And I really believe every single person has a talent. Every person. Die Here het nie iemand nie gekoop nie.
Yes.
Imagine is hier almal met 'n rugsak met iets in. Jy het nou niks nie. Almal het 'n rugsak gekry.
Dis gaan jou question.
Jy stage gegee.
Make it
Hoe kan jy in die game insit sonder talent? Het jy aan die game gesit because there's something you need to produce. Jy moet iets uithaal.
Sure.
Ah, yes.
And you, remember, your responsibility is om te weet wat daar binne kan aangaan. You have to spend time with yourself and say, wat is ek goed mee?
And you such an all-rounder, Jace. Jy's in die arts en jy in the corporate. You truly remind us. Okay, kom ek sê vir myself. Ek gaan nie sê remind. You truly remind me of like whatever hits you, you need to know that you are equipped. You see, whatever hits you, because off camera het ons ook gepraat en Craig het gementioned that jy kan nie net wil iets sê.
Yeah.
You need to put it in. Of jy kan nie net wil sê he's a poet, maar jy wil nie vir mense staan en die poetry sê nie. Jy sê we wil hê mense moet poetry luister. You have to meet the block that says jy is nie daai nie. En overcome it.
Yeah.
To realize it. Ek het net overcome en ek is it. You see, and you've shown us this. And for me, you've truly shown it through the movie. The challenge. Ek dink mense sal sê ons lieg as ons sê elke dag was 'n challenge.
It was,
Like literally every day.
yeah.
The challenge was so tough where the Kofifi guys gave us the equipment that we should shoot.
Correct.
That is how tough it was that we had to finish this project. That was a thing ek en Jacelyn elke dag
Yeah.
ry na die editor toe and the editor stay that side by Wanderers. I mean ons gery het just to go edit, see if the edit is good, come back. You see, and those are the odds that are actually stacked against us.
Absolutely.
We don't see. He's in and you've like
Flourish through it.
But it's like Justin said, ons het die Eno, wat het jy gesê? Dat kom met
Eno's team.
Eno's team. Gewoonlik, wat gebeur? Ons gaan ons terug. We could have withdrawn. Ons kon opgegee het. Because it was tough. Veral die laaste stages. Ons kon gesê dit weet wat, ons het geprobeer julle. Want dit is gewoonlik wat ons doen aan die community.
Ik heb nou last year het ik gehad waar ik het een challenge gehad met een event en zo zie ik mezelf blij aan. Like hoe ons is in die community als je een vriend meet en ons touch nog bezig en dan zegt, nee man, hoe is het met hij? Je te kiezen, ga je zeggen hoe je het recht gekregen, dat je dier geskierd of ga je zeggen, nee maar ik moest gebek dan met zo en zo.
Yes.
En je groot excuse hoe het niet gewerkt.
Correct.
Maar nu hier is ook groot, maar je zegt, nee, ik heb die en die gedaan en ik heb een succes van het gemaakt. En kijk, toekomst.
We have to finish things. We don't finish things.
En
Ons start met die bubbles wat die brace wat hy nog gaan hoog. Hy kom as sterk uit die begin. Hy wys jou, I'm doing this and say psst.
Ja.
En dis ons ding, ons psst, we fizzle out and we push.
Ja.
We push ons ry ons gaan die movie klaar. Die dag wat die movie moes geshow was, toe speel die movie nie.
Ek wil nie gespeel het nie, because on this side I had to, ons het all-nighters, allemaal wat by die crew het, daar by Jace all overnight. Soos ek die subtitles doen, dus Alexander het geskryf, ek doen het, jy wil die PC ingegeven.
Yes.
Kry kom in op PC, ek doen het offline op die PC, jy wil het die speel daar by die site.
It's at the event. People are waiting now for the movie to be screened.
Die odds is,
Jy dink het gekoop hoor? Jy sit nie van die by die site nie.
En die productietickets het klaar gewerkt ook voor die...
Bra, alle geld is weg. Dis nie niks lief.
as een refund die.
Ons moet nou wys die movie wat jy speel het. I was like, that's why I'm saying the challenges will always be many.
Yes.
In anything that is of significance, you will be challenged. Dit moet getoets word. Dat is wat ek vandag mee wegkom. If it's good enough, it needs to be tested. Because if it's not tested, it's not solid.
Ja. En just voor ons afsluit, please just lead us to what you currently doing, like what do you currently, what are you up to since the movie, and a message for any young woman that's listening, that's from Toekomsrus. What is it that you want to say?
I think I want to start with speaking to the people of Toekomsrus, and especially women, because it's ook iets close aan my heart, because I relate as a woman. En ek dink as 'n vrou ons is 'n bietjie meer challenge as manne, because society favors men. They think you guys are capable, even though julle het nie bewys dit net because you male, you know, like you're more accepted, especially for bigger things, you know. And I think I want to start off with the girl child that thinks that she is not good enough. It must be that belief that you have what it takes. You actually have what it takes. Irrespective of what your environment is, irrespective of whatever voice that's negative, I is nie vir jou nie.
Sure.
Die Here se voice dink nie soos hy nie.
Ja.
And he's your father. So luister na jou pa sê vir jou, ek jou gegee. Moenie worry nie. Walk that walk. So whatever is stirring, because as iets wat stir in jou en as dit 'n droom is, wanneer dit jou ding is, jy voel dit. Jy weet dit is in jou in. Pursue that thing.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be on a big scale. I'm a hoofie. National division. Some people need to be provincial and some people need to be local. But do what it's in you to the best of your ability. Doen dit met alles in jou in. Pour out and do that thing.
Sure.
And you don't have to conform to any other standard. Moenie niemand kopie nie. Jy hoef nie Jacelyn of enige iemand anders te wees. You need to be you, because we need you to do what you need to do.
Yes.
Because remember, it's a bigger puzzle. Ons sien net die puzzle nie. So as jou puzzle, jy wil dit nou dieselfde maak as iemand anders se piece. Dit gaan nie in die groter puzzle in pas nie. That's why you're unique. Hou your puzzle piece. Stay true to that little piece. Because jy gaan die hele picture van die universe opmors as jy iemand wil imitate.
Sure.
Keep true to that piece. Because ons nodig hy piece, want at the end gaan hy picture mooi by mekaar. Maar gaan ons alles verstaan. En weet ons hoekom ons was hier, why you had in for our youth. Hoekom jy deur gegaan. So So that's the message for our community and for our youth.
Yes.
You need to pursue that. Jy het eintlik 'n responsibility. Jy roep ons as jy nie doen wat jy moet doen nie. Please do it.
Sure.
I am pleading, do what you're supposed to do. Because you're always agter. Ons is amper by die wenbal, ons wag vir jou. Doen jou stukkie man, dat ons 'n stukkie kan doen. Verstaan jy? And then wat was die ander stukkie?
What are you doing now?
Oh, currently. I'm really enjoying motherhood. And I don't think we've spoken a lot about that, but that is also one of the things that I'm learning so much. And my grootste teacher now is my kinders, and especially my daughter. She's 14 years old, or turning 14 this year. And that is actually where I'm spending a lot of energy and a lot of time. I am domesticated. I am in that mother role, present mother, speaking life into these kids and trying my very best to mold and guide and nurture that. And you get an marriage ding wat ek ook meer besig is. So I'm building there. I'm building a lot there. And then in terms of business, I'm doing well corporately. You know, I'm attaining my goals. I'm you know, achieving what I'm supposed to be achieving. And then in studies also, I'm pursuing my academic studies as well, because the goal is eventually Dr. Scott to be. And
Sure.
we're well on our way
Yes.
to that.
Social.
Yeah. So in terms of art, I finished a book. So I am still in publishing, trying to find the right publisher, because people are looking at the book at the moment. And the book is called Colored Struggle Heroes. 100 names you should know. So I profiled 100 colored struggle heroes that helped in liberating South Africa. And it's names that is forgotten in our history. And I want to bring those names to the fore so that our people will know what we've contributed to this new South Africa.
Yeah.
So that was one of my love projects, and you know, it's been edited, it's ready. It just needs to, you know, people need to buy into that title, because they're having a problem with the colored, because the politics fundraise. But it will come out, and
Sure.
I will give you guys the heads up when it is out, because it's for our consumption.
Yeah.
It's for us to be enlightened and to be proud
Yes.
of what our people has done.
Wow. Any other
I
questions?
just wanted to touch on, ek ken as die laaste en het kom weer daar waar onze show kan niet klaar raken. There's no playbook for being a mother.
Hey.
Voor die vehicles, het ek ook met iemand vroeg mensen praat, toen zei ze ook like, haar kind is al groot. En looking back, dat het zit net gegaan met het.
Sure.
There's no playbook.
Dude, it's so scary.
Maar dat is iets kwaai.
Dude.
En voor mij komt het af tot op die youth weer, waar die kinders moeten het embrace. Dat vraag je weer af. Do you, zoals Jay zei, do you, pursue you. Want het is amper weer die wendpaal.
Dude.
Alles hij zal komen. Getrouwd, kinders, carrière. Moet het niet jagen. Dat is wat ik ook
Wow.
wil touchen.
Wow.
Ja.
Good. Jace, ons wil sê baie dankie dat jy ons gebless het met ons presence, met jou presence. Dankie dat jy tyd opgeoffer het. Daar was ook weer challenges behind the scene met die episode. En nie during these challenges. We just want to say thank you. Thank you for that. And viewers, we just want to say thank you for watching for another lovely episode of Onse Show.
Thank you so much for having me. That was an absolute pleasure, and I think I gained more through this episode. It's magical here. You guys have something good. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you have it, guys. Season 2, episode 1. I get